Hello and welcome to the Ty Show for May 12th. Today, just going to recap a couple little bit of news segments. I want to talk about ESPN put out their rankings for the all-time players. I think it's from 40 to 71, or 11 to 40 today. 11 to 40 is today. So we'll go through that real quickly. I want to talk about some other news that came out about sports coming back. But let's jump straight into it. At 40, we're going to start with the All NBA ranks. Um, So ESPN is putting this list together for the all-time greatest players in their eyes, according to their experts. And we're going to start from 40 and move up to 1, slowly progressing. We're going to start at 40 with Chris Paul. My opinion, a little low. I think Chris Paul's a top 5 point guard of all time, but I may be biased considering he is my favorite player of all time. Um, but you guys tell me what you think about that one. 39, Walt Frazier, great defender. Main reason the Knicks have won a championship. I mean, he was their last championship. So I could see Walt Frazier. 38, Bob Pettit, dominant player back in the 50s and 60s for the Milwaukee Hawks and the St. Louis Hawks. Multiple time MVP. Uh, Finished top four of the MVP voted 8 times. It was a 4-time All-Star Game MVP and also led the Hawks to a championship at 58. 37 is Patrick Ewing, one of the all-time sitters. If you've been watching The Last Dance, you understand how good Patrick Ewing is. 36, Kevin McHale. I could see this. Kevin McHale was a 7-time All-Star, 3-time champion, one of the greatest Celtics of all time for sure. I don't know if I'd put Chris Paul under him, which is a little weird, but so be it. 35, Jason Kidd, another guy I think is really good, but I think Chris Paul is just better. They got him a little low. 34, George Mikan, the first main Laker player from 48 to 56, carried the Lakers over there in Minneapolis and kind of set them all up. 33, John Havlicek, one of the greatest shooters of all time, Hondo. Uh, One of the greatest six-man. Who's kind of the definition of the six-man. Kind of what Manu Ginobili was to the Spurs, was he to the Celtics. 32, James Harden. If you're telling me right now that Chris Paul's career is not better than James Harden's career, then you're dumb. You're absolutely dumb. Chris Paul is a top 5 point guard of all time. I think Harden will be up there for sure as a top 5 shooting guard of all time, but he's not there yet. And this is disgusting to me that they had put James Harden over Chris Paul on the all-time list right now. 31, Isaiah Thomas, another point guard that I think is very underrated. Uh, but again, I don't think he's as good as Chris Paul. 30, Steve Nash, another point guard that I grew up a huge fan of. Got a couple of VPs that I don't think he deserved fully. But yeah, I'd take Chris Paul over him. 29, Allen Iverson. Same thing. Great player. Led his team to the finals a couple times, but I would put Chris Paul over Allen Iverson. 28, John Stockton. This is when I would probably where I'd put Chris Paul is 29. If you're gonna put Stockton at 28, put Chris Paul at 29 because Stockton is better than Chris Paul. Stockton is the definition of a point guard. He's the reason he's the all-time assist leader uh, in NBA history. I mean, Stockton was the definition of a point guard. 27, they already have Giannis. I don't know how to feel about that. At 25 years old, Giannis has already had a better career than Chris Paul, Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, Allen Iverson, John Stockton. He hasn't even been to the finals yet. Almost every single one of those guys has led his team to the finals at least once, besides Harden. Ignore Harden. and Chris Paul. But they both would have made it if Chris Paul didn't get hurt 2 years ago. But again, all those Warrior fans said that they would have won it last year if Durant didn't get hurt. But it's all cool. 26, Dwayne Wade, in my opinion, the second greatest shooting guard of all time. I am perfectly fine with that. At 25, Kawhi Leonard. I'm a huge fan of Kawhi, but this is too high for Kawhi. He has not already had a better career than Dwayne Wade. But again, this list is just dumb. I'm going to go over it. You guys can tell me how wrong this list is. This is just stupid. 24, David Robinson. I'm a big fan of David Robinson, one of the most underrated sitters of all time. And he doesn't get the love that he should. He carried the Spurs for a long time, him and Tim Duncan. And you should go watch some of his highlights if you don't believe me. He was a monster. 23, Charles Barkley. Another player who not a lot of people view as this superstar player, but I mean, he won an MVP. He was on the dream team, led Phoenix to the championship to lose to Michael Jordan. But Barkley was a good player. 22, Elgin Baylor, another good Laker player going up. But again, I don't know if he's better than some of those players above him or below him, I guess. But well, I like Elgin Baylor. Respect to him. I mean, he averaged 27.4 points and 13.5 rebounds a game. But yeah, he played in an era that it didn't really matter, in my opinion. 21, Scottie Pippen. Again, if you're watching The Last Dance, you see how underrated he was. And a lot of people say MJ didn't play with anyone and MJ didn't do this. LeBron's always had teammates around him. MJ always had Pippen. Without Pippen, there is no MJ. The reason MJ has championships, 6 of them, is because of Pippen and Rodman, but mainly Pippen. So I mean, the season he retired in 90, what was it, 93? They still make the playoffs because of Pippen. You can't tell me that you remove LeBron from the Lakers and the Lakers are still a playoff team this year. I don't think they would be. I mean, look at the Pelicans the last couple of years with Davis. They haven't done anything. 20 is Kevin Garnett. Again, I'm really fine with this. I think Garnett's one of those top 3 power forwards. We lived in that power forward era of Dirk, Garnett, and Duncan, where those are the 3 greatest power forwards in my opinion, and I don't think anyone's going to touch them for a while, except for maybe Giannis in the future. Not yet. Then 19, you have Dirk. Again, I'd put Dirk over Garnett. I just think Dirk has done more in his career. I think Duncan is number 1, Dirk's number 2, and Garnett's number 3 in that order. It's perfect. I agree with that assessment of it. 18, Moses Malone, another center who played really well with Philly. I've been reading a book about Magic Johnson and learning about him playing Moses Malone in Philadelphia in his first couple finals appearances was amazing. 17, Carl the Mailman Malone. I don't like this guy. If you know anything about him, you'll know why. If you don't, go look it up. I'm not going to say it on here. He's had a messed up life, and he's a good basketball player. I respect his basketball skills, but I don't have respect for him as a person. 16, Jerry West. I think he's a good point guard. Better GM, in my opinion. He's one of the greatest GMs of all time. But the logo, as he is, but they don't say it's him. Uh, is 16. I mean, top 5 player of all time at his position, shooting guard. I think that's yeah, I would agree with that. But 16, I don't know if that's a little high for Jerry West. 15, Julius Erving, Dr. J himself, probably the 3rd best small forward of all time. You can maybe throw Durant above him if you wanted to, which I think they are going to in a second. But in my opinion, it goes LeBron, Bird, Dr. J, Durant, which I think Durant will jump Dr. J, but Dr. J just had a Durant's career's got a little blemish next to him because of the Warriors. And there it is. 14 is Kevin Durant. Of course, amazing player. If you know anything about me, you know I'm a Thunder fan. I don't like Durant at all. It's not because he left Oklahoma City. I was fine when he left Oklahoma City. I said I would have done the same thing. I'm more mad that he keeps taking shots at us. And the way his cockiness has gone with the Warriors and the way he forced himself out of Golden State because he wasn't the main guy and it was Curry's team and he was upset about that. He wanted his own team and then he goes to Brooklyn after he tears his Achilles. And all this time and he's been out for a year, he just keeps talking trash. I don't know if you guys saw his Twitter exchange the other day with a fan who just said something. He just said that if Giannis leaves Milwaukee, he was going to be set. And Durant called him sensitive and told him to stop crying because he's a big baby. We're fans, Durant, so we can't be upset. We're not mad. We're not hating you or anything. We're just upset that you decided to leave our team. Uh, There's a reason Oklahoma City hates this man is because we were up 3-1 on the Warriors in 2016. We were 1 game away. And if it's not for Klay Thompson having the greatest game 6 maybe ever, I definitely be a game 6 Klay. Game 6 Klay has shown up a ton. The Thunder have a championship instead, because I don't think we would have lost to Cleveland. But that's just my opinion. I know Cleveland won the championship, but we'll go through that later. 13, a player that I think is very good. I think he is a top five point guard of all time. I think he is better than Chris Paul. I don't have him better than Stockton though, and that's Steph Curry. I think Steph Curry will definitely be up there. I think Steph Curry is the greatest shooter of all time, maybe the greatest offensive player of all time. The way he can get shots off is crazy. His MVP season was phenomenal. And for that reason right there, that's why Steph Curry's so high. Now you cannot tell me that he is the 13th best player over some other players, but in my opinion, it goes Magic, Oscar, Stockton, Curry, Chris Paul. That's my top five point guards. Won't move out of that. 12, Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon, and another great player, two-time Finals MVP. Finishing the back-to-back championships. His NBA record of 3,830 blocks might never be approached. It was crazy how good Hakeem was. And 11, last but not least today, is Oscar Robertson, the triple-double machine himself. Um, First player to ever average a triple-double, the first player to sit top 10 in points per game and assists per game. Uh, and he played with Kareem and won, I think, one championship with them. Yeah, one championship. Yeah, very good player. A lot of another player that's really underrated. Not a lot of people get him some credit that he needs. But that's the 11 through 40. That list was absolute garbage. I know if you go through 41 to 74, there's no Melo. That was another thing that people are really upset about, but it happens. Leave your comments on what you think of this list. I think it's just horrendous. Top 10, I don't even know who they're gonna put. I assume it's you have your normals of MJ, LeBron, Kobe, Shaq, Larry, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Tim Duncan, Magic, and Kareem. That's going to be the 10. I don't know what order they'll go in. Don't. That's not my order at all. What I just said is not my order at all. But we'll see what order they put them in. That's that ranking. I want to actually go into some sporting news now, which we had. NBA owners in excess hopeful for return after call with Adam Silver. As we got the news yesterday, the NBA Players Association sent out a text to all players. Just a simple yes or no question. Yes, do you want the season to continue or no? And supposedly a lot of them said yes, including LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, a whole bunch of these big name players. So they said they want the season to return. They got on a call with Adam Silver, and it seems like Adam Silver says that now it looks like it's going to happen. The season will look like it will happen. He will make his official decision in 2 to 4 weeks, but it looks good for the NBA to return at some point. Either that be in Disney World or Las Vegas or where else. And if we go straight into the playoffs, I don't know any of the details. I don't know any of that part of it, but it looks like basketball will finish out, which is huge. I think we're all wanting that back. This season was very, very entertaining, and we wanted to see what's going to happen at the playoffs. How were the Clippers and the Lakers going to fare? Was Houston going to make it out of the first round? Was Milwaukee going to make it out of the East? There's so many storylines in the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference just in this year's playoffs. The Lakers with playing for Kobe. You have the Clippers trying to make that team that they finally could get past the Lakers. They get past LeBron, and it was going to be entertaining. It looks like we're going to get that. So congrats to the NBA on this on that. As we talked about yesterday, the MLB was holding a meeting today with the players to discuss the policies, but I guess they didn't. They just laid out the foundations of the travel plans, kind of how traveling would work, how where they would play, and all that. The main thing that I saw was that they're gonna try to split the money off the players, which probably will make all the players mad, of course, because you're cutting their contracts. But none of that was even brought up yesterday in their meetings. So this is just early discussions for sure. I know they have till July 4th is what their plan date to come back, and we'll see what happens there. But there's some other news later on that we're going to get to that will definitely affect that. We also got some news yesterday that as of May 16th, so this Saturday, Friday, Saturday, check real quickly. That will be Saturday. Arizona says sports can return, which is mainly a view at MLB, I think, because I know MLB was wanting to play at their spring training grounds. So now the two states that are open for sports are Arizona and Florida. You play Cactus League and Grapefruit League, and you just let them play in their spring training facilities. They're all right next to each other. It's super easy travel. You can quarantine the players down in Florida and Arizona and finish the season down. And they said that MLB, NBA, NHL, and NFL can resume without fans on Saturday, according to the mayor, Doug Duck, Doug Duck, Ducky, Duxie, Duxie. Um, but yeah, he approved that. While this was being approved, just one state over in California, they have decided to go into lockdown for 3 more months. I think is what LA said. It's not official yet, but they're going to go 3 more months till the end of July, which again brings up the fact that because of this, California universities are not going to have classes in the fall. So that would mean no college football in California, no college basketball in California, and no fall sports in California, most likely, which does not look good. I know Bama was supposed to open the week 1 against USC. I know they're trying to reschedule that now to TCU, who picked up Zachary Evans yesterday, too, 5-star running back. I don't want to get into that today. We'll get into that another day, but because this video is going on a little bit too long. But yeah, this is crazy to think that I get what they're coming from in California, but yeah, all 23 colleges is going to elect to stay online for fall semester, which would definitely hurt fall sports. Um, and I mean, you have San Diego State, Fresno State, San Jose State, UCLA, Stanford, Cal, USC, a lot of big name schools in California that won't get to play any fall sports. And hope, I mean, maybe, but most likely. I know they said that it would be up. The main thing was getting the students back on campus first, and if they're not getting them on campus, it could affect that. So we'll have to see what happens there in California. I know the NCAA also said that they won't mandate a uniform return. They're not going to force everyone back. It's going to be based on when your college allows people back on campus. When students are allowed back on campus, you can start working out again if in a safe and reliable manner. Uh, so we'll have to see. I know the Pac-12 is the main one because Oregon said there's no sporting events till September, so that affects Oregon and Oregon State. Now we have the California rolling, so it will be very hard to determine what happens in the Pac-12 for football wise at least. I know the PGA also said that they are going to put safety protocols for their tournaments, which are starting next week or June 1st. June 1st. Um, which means that no families can come to the golf course. They can stay with the golfers, but they can't actually come to the golf course to keep it quarantined, to keep the players safe, which makes sense. And the last thing I want to talk about today is the remaining free agents in the NFL and where I think that they should go. Um, Cam Newton, I think his best fit is to go back up Russell Wilson in Seattle. If you're going to go anywhere right now, if he wants to take a deal, I wouldn't take a deal anywhere, but if you want to take a deal, Uh, I think like he has to almost actually take back what I said. I would take a deal. I'd go play for the Seattle Seahawks. I think you could be a really good backup to Russell Wilson, and you'll learn a lot with that system and kind of go get paid the next year. Joe Flacco, I think he has a couple options. He could go back up Kirk Cousins in Minnesota. He could go back up Sam Darnold in New York. He could go back up Joe Burrow with the Bengals now. Uh, I don't know what the best fit for him is. It'd be very interesting to see where he goes. Devontae Freeman, I think his best fit is Tampa Bay. I think he'll be a very good running back for Tom Brady. You put him in that backfield. I think that's where he should end up. Taylor Gabriel, the old wide receiver from the Bears. I have a couple teams. The Bears, or not the Bears, the Packers, the Vikings, and the Jets are all teams that I think could use his talent. Delaney Walker, I think would be a very good fit for a couple teams with the Ravens, using him as a second tight end. I know they have a ton of tight ends, but they run so many tight ends. The Cowboys could also maybe put somebody next to Blake Jarwin, kind of they did with Jason Witten, and the Chiefs could sign him as a backup to Travis Kelce because I know they used Blake Bell a lot last year and lost him. Jason Peters, a couple teams that I think I could see him going to is the Redskins because they'll need somebody to replace Trent Williams. The Eagles, where he's been, and my Chargers could use a left tackle, and I could see him signing there. Larry Wofford, the guard who just got cut. I think there's a couple teams he could go to with the Bears, the Lions, or the Browns. Um, Clowney is a big one. I don't know where Clowney's going to end up. I think the Jets could be a good fit. I think Cleveland could be a good fit. I think Tennessee would be a good fit. Be interested to see where Clowney ends up. Everson Griffin, I think by far the best choice for him is the Seahawks. Put him on the D line, and he could replace Clowney. I mean, you don't want to pay the price tag of Clowney to pay Everson Griffin, who's good still. Damian Harrison, a couple teams I think are the Titans, the Jaguars, and the Packers on him. Snacks himself. Mike Daniels, I think a couple teams could be the Eagles, the Titans, or the Panthers that could sign his talent. Marcus Golden, I think the Lions, the Jets, and the Giants are a place where he could end up. Clay Matthews, I'd love to see him go to Tampa Bay, play with Tom Brady, because you have JPP and Shaq Barrett, so you could put him as a backup to one of them too. Mark Barron, I think the Cowboys, the Eagles, and the Broncos are all good options for Mark Barron. Logan Ryan, who I think signed with the Jets yesterday, but that was where I would have projected him to go. Eli Apple, the Titans, the Jets, and the Texans all could use another corner. Prince Amukamara signed with the Raiders yesterday. Eric Reed, I think the Falcons could use his talent. And that's it. That's it for me today. Leave a like, comment what you thought of that whole player list, all the news that's coming out about California's lockdown. I know I have a lot of viewers in California, so tell me, how do you guys feel about the lockdown for 3 more months? I know here in Oklahoma we're easing out of it, but California seems like they're going back even farther into it, and so it'll be very interesting to see what happens. Keep healthy, keep safe to everyone out there. Please wash your hands, and that's it for me today. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.